Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Inspiration Wednesday session. My name's Tara. Thanks for joining us. Today's topic is going to be all about tin can. And before I introduce today's speaker, just a couple of housekeeping items to go over with you. First and foremost, if this is your first Inspiration Wednesday session, welcome. We try to offer these a couple times a month free of charge. These sessions are being recorded, so in just a couple of days they will be available out on our website. So if you need to reference any of this material again, or maybe a colleague couldn't join you, that'll be available to you. You may have noticed that all of your audio has been muted. There are tons of us on today's call, so this will make things nice and easy. We won't have to worry about background noise, and everyone can hear the presentation loud and clear. Now, if you have questions throughout the presentation, you have a little questions panel there, right there in that GoToMeeting screen. So feel free to log your questions there. I will be doing my best to man those questions. Any questions that do not get a response throughout the presentation, we'll certainly do a nice question and answer series at the end of that session. Now, before I pass this over to our presenter, if you could give me just a little bit of feedback there. You should be able to see our screen at this point, that Inspiration Wednesday screen, and you should be able to hear my audio. So if you could just provide a little bit of feedback in that questions panel, perfect. You guys are always nice and awake early in the morning. That looks fantastic. Thanks for that feedback. Okay, well, without any further ado, I'm going to hand this off to this morning's presenter, and that's John Blackman. John is the Senior VP of Authoring Products here at Trivantis. So he is working in the office down in Boca Raton with all the guys and developing out all of our products. So I'm going to hand this over to John. If you have questions about Tin Can, again, I'm going to do my best to answer those for you in that chat window, but John is the expert right now on Tin Can, so certainly at the end of the session we can have a nice question and answer. So thanks a lot, and John, over to you.
Thank you very much, Tara. As Tara said, my name is John Blackman. I'm the Senior VP of Authoring Products, and today we're going to discuss Tin Can. It's probably one of the biggest discussion points in e-learning today because everybody really kind of wants to know what it is. We keep hearing buzz about it, a lot of information, but most people really don't know what it is and what it can do. So that's what we're going to try to work on today. All right, so the first question, what is Tin Can? Well, Tin Can has got several names. That's the first important thing. You'll hear it referred to as Tin Can. You'll also refer to it as Experience API or XAPI. I've even heard SCORM Next Generation as an official name. I believe it's going with Tin Can, but at some point it might be XAPI. But really, it's a new specification for e-learning that makes it possible to collect custom data from your courses. It really is the next version of SCORM, so there won't be any further versions of SCORM. It's going to evolve into Tin Can. So if everything you do with SCORM today, all the information you get with SCORM today, you can also get with Tin Can. One difference with Tin Can is it reports to what's known as an LRS. We're all familiar. Of course, we need a new acronym, right? We're all familiar with an LMS. The LRS is a learning record store, and it's just basically a way to store records, and we'll discuss that more in just a moment. So how do you use it? Well, first and most importantly is your course needs to have a Tin Can compliant LMS, LRS in order to take advantage of Tin Can. It's like a language. So you can think of AICC, SCORM, and Tin Can as English, French, and Spanish. So those are ways to convey information, ways to get information back and forth between a course and an LMS. But both sides have to speak English in order to talk. Both sides need to speak Spanish. Both sides need to speak French. So they need to talk the same language. So there aren't a whole lot of options right now, but those are coming. They're going to be LMSs will all be supporting, including those at Trivantis, will all be supporting Tin Can in the near future. So it's something to look forward to, and there'll be a lot of that coming on. Now, since Tin Can is the next version of SCORM, if you're only really still trying to get the same information as SCORM, you really don't need to do anything different than you're doing today. SCORM gives you test scores, it'll give you your interaction data, it'll give you completion data. If that's all you're looking for and your learning management system has moved on to Tin Can, you don't need to change the way you use Lector today. That same information will be passed across. All you do is publish to Tin Can, it's a new publishing option, and that will create a Tin Can conformant course that will pass along all the same information before. So very easy to use if you're just trying to get that same information. So an LRS, the new acronym, what does it mean? It's a learning record store, and the name kind of gives it away what it is. It's just a way to store records. So it is a very simplified way to store records. It also allows for reporting on and exporting of those records. The big difference between an LRS and an LMS is that The LRS does not have the course content. So right now we all look at an LMS, we publish to an LMS, we copy our course up there. That's not really necessarily the case with the LRS. However, that being said, most of the time, especially in these first instances, the LRS will become part of the LMS. They may not even separate it out in your view, so you will just feel like it's the same thing as your LMS. So you'll put your course up into the LRS, the course into the LMS, and it will report to the LRS. It'll seem all as one. Well, that's great, but so if that's all we can do, why is all this fuss about TinCan? Why are we all talking about it? Well, TinCan allows you to do more. So in addition to all the things that SCORM and AICC have, it builds upon that and allows for flexible statements. So you can put in information that you want. You can get more information from your users than you could through normal means of SCORM and AICC. These flexible statements are always in the form of noun, verb, and object. So what does that mean? So a noun is the who. Really, it talks about who is sending this information across. And in this case, that's completely handled by Lectora. The who is the user, the student taking the course. So you don't need to do anything for that when you're dealing with TinCan. Lectora knows, since we're running inside of a shell somewhere, we know who's using the course. We send that information for you automatically. You then have a verb, and this is the action part of the statements. What is happening in that statement? So what this is what type of activity you recorded. You then have an object. Now this is the nice part. It's really a free-form text area. You can say what was acted upon by the user. So you can really customize the kind of data that is in your course. Well, that's great, but how do I do it? Maybe you have Lectora, maybe you've tried to look for TinCan and you're not sure how to use it. What can I do with it? Well, first you have to set your course into AIC, SCORM, or TinCan. So that is the setting on the title options. It's on your design ribbon. That actually adds in a new option to your actions. The new action is TinCan statement, as you can see right here. TinCan statement is a brand new type that goes on. Once you set your title type to an AICC SCORM TinCan title, that action will be available. That action can go anywhere an action is in your title right now. So you can have it on a mouse enter, mouse exit, click on a button, to click on a page, the show of a page, the show of an object. Anywhere you can trigger an action today, which is a lot of places, you can trigger a TinCan statement. That's kind of its flexibilities. It allows you to get information at any point along the way. Okay, so once we've created a TinCan statement by adding that new action, we then have to add in the two things. As we said before, the noun is handled for you. The noun is the who. It's who is making this statement, so we'll record that for you automatically. You have to provide a verb and an object. The verb, we provide you with a preset list of verbs that exist out there, and that is this set you see here on the left side of the screen. The verb can be any of these things and is extended by the object. The object is a text field. It's free-form text. So with this, you can really kind of capture anything from there. So you could say, hey, I watched a video, or I achieved this goal. It really lets you just define the kind of data that you want to keep, and that data is kept in the Learning Record Store and reported on. The nice thing about a record store is that eventually, as these things move on and become more mature, you're going to be able to report individually on things that matter specifically to your course and to you. So what's an example? That's really cool. You can do all kinds of new stuff, but what's an example of what you can do with that? So let's take a look at an example. So here I have a small course that I created for the user conference in San Antonio. And it's not much of a course. It's just kind of information. It's just a few pages and a few questions that I've created out there. So let's take a look at what it does first, and then we'll see how we could apply TinCan to this to get more from it. So this is kind of an introduction to San Antonio course. The user conference was in San Antonio this year. And here we have the first page. It just asks a question because we want to know whether or not the user has been to San Antonio before, because we're going to give, if he hasn't been there before, we want to give him a little bit more deep information. If he has, then we'll just skip to some things he probably doesn't know about San Antonio. So we ask them a question. We ask them an intro question, and that intro question, as you see on its feedback, if they say, hey, on the correct feedback, he goes to a fun and facts page. We've set the correct answer to this question to be yes. So the question is, have you visited before? If they say yes, we're going to go to the Fun and Facts page because they've been here before. They don't need to go to the introduction. They know about that. But if they click on no, we're going to take them to the intro page because, hey, they've never been to San Antonio. Let's give them a quick introduction to the town so they know about the town. On the intro page, we have just some pictures and text, a little bit of history about San Antonio, but we've included a couple of rollovers. So I've got these rollovers that pop up when you mouse over those things. Just a little bit of information about what these individual pictures are. So just in case they don't know, they can roll over the pictures and get information. And then have the fun facts page. These are like little information tidbits that people may not know about it. But over here on the right, I have a little logo there for the user conference. And if they click on that, it takes them to the user conference website. Get more information about the user conference. Okay. And then I have the test. Test is just 2 questions, very standard, couple of questions, representative of what they've learned. Now, in this little course, there's a few things I'd really like to know. When they go to the welcome page, they have actually 3 different ways to navigate off this page. And in a normal SCORM or AICC, actually you'd get no information from this. You wouldn't know anything about how the student handled this page, what they did. And maybe that's important to me. Maybe I really want to know, hey, how many people went to this page, went to the intro page? How many people looked at that? Or how many people even actually skipped the question, didn't answer the question because they have this button up here on the right. They actually could just not even answer the question. I haven't forced them to answer the question. They might skip it entirely. So I need to know that. Maybe if I find that everybody is skipping the question, I'll force them to answer the question. So how do I find that information out? Well, I've got a few things here. On the click of the button, I've added on both buttons, both choice buttons, both of these choice buttons, when they click on a select change, I issue a tin can statement. So on this button right here, which is the choice 1 button, we issue a tin can statement. I say, hey, they've experienced that click the bin there button. Now I chose the term click the bin there button. It could be any text we want. It's a free form text field. You can enter any text you want in there. And on the choice 2 button, which again is the no button, they're saying, hey, they haven't been here before. I say they've experienced clicking the no button. That's great. So I'll know if they've gone in. So if they click on the choice 1 button or the choice 2 button, I'll get a tin can statement. If they don't issue any statement at all, and I see that they visited the 2 different pages, then I'll know that they just completely skipped the question and just moved on. If I wanted to, I could even put a tin can statement specifically on that next button to know how they did that as well. Just depends on what information I want to collect. So on the intro page, I've created this page, and I went through some effort to create these pop-ups and rollovers. So I didn't put any instructive text here to let them know that they can do that. So I'm kind of interested to know if people pick up on that. Do they roll over these? Do they not roll over these? Again, that's information that you would never know using SCORM or AICC. And it'll help me in the future to create my course better if I know that, hey, students are using the things that I create in the course. So because of that, I've added in a few tin can statements. Now I have the standard rollover. I show and hide when the mouse enters and exits. But I also say on mouse enter, again, I can put that tin can statement on any action within a title. So on mouse enter, we issue a tin can statement. And so I say, on this case, on the mission, I say he experienced the mission rollover pop-up. And on the Riverwalk, I say he experienced the Riverwalk rollover pop-up. So that way I know if the student is actually doing that. And I can learn from that as I see students using it and taking it. Maybe they're never figuring out that those rollovers are there. Perhaps I need to put some instructive text. Maybe I need to change the whole paradigm and maybe change the way they do it so that it automatically pops up over time. We'll see. On the Fun and Facts page, I have that LUC boot logo. I want to know if the user clicks that. I want to know if the user goes there. Again, with the SCORM, I have no way to do that. With Tin Can, very simple. I just throw a quick tin can statement on there. Every time they click it, I get a tin can statement. It's going to say I interacted with the LUC website because that's what the user's doing. He's clicking it and he's going right through and interacting with the LUC website. Now, probably more important is notice that in the test, I actually didn't do anything different. There is no, I don't have to actually do anything different in here. I could have. I can add different tin can statements here. But really, because it does everything that SCORM and AICC did, and I'm going to publish with interactions, I'm going to know what the student answered. I'm going to know what the question was. I'm going to know what the answer was. I'll know what the score is. So I think I really have all the information I need from here. So I don't need to do any extra effort to get all the information out of there I need to get out of there. That's great. Okay, so I think I've improved this course a lot by adding just a few tin can statements in to see what's going to happen, and it'll allow me to learn more about my course so I can do it better.